Alright, so hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to take a quick look at the Corpus Kreska. Now first things first, you get the blueprint for the Kreska from the Energy Lab or the Corpus Lab in your dojo. The blueprint itself will cost you 15,000 credits, and then to build the weapon you have to put an additional 25,000 credits, 10 Fieldron, 40 Mitocardia Spore, 25 Star Amarast, and finally 20 Lathe Coagulant. Now the Kreska is a Mastery Rank 6 machete that does 70 damage per hit, 40 as heat, 15 as slash, 10 as impact, and only 5 as puncture. It has somewhat low attack speed of only 0.917, it has okay crit chance at 14%, a standard 2x crit multiplier, and a decent 19% status chance. It also comes with a pretty good slam attack radius, it's definitely bigger than on most melee weapons, and the slam attack also has a chance to proc heat even if you take the heat that's on the weapon by default and you turn it into an elemental combo. And finally, the Kreska comes with a double dash polarity in the stance slot which matches all the stances, and it has a 1v polarity as standard. Now the setup I ended up using on the Kreska is a pretty straightforward 2 Forma build where I've added 2 Vs and it's just a status build. So I'm running Cyclone Kraken as my stance, which is definitely the better of the stances for machetes. Then I have Primed Pressure Point for damage, Primed Fury for attack speed, Primed Reach for range, Condition Overload so I do more damage as I proc status on the enemy, Drifting Contact for combo duration and status chance. Then I added Vicious Frost and Virulent Scourge for status chance and viral damage, and finally I topped it off with Buskill because the weapon doesn't have an overwhelming amount of slash damage, so I was proccing impact and puncture quite a lot, and this just pushes the IPS procs more towards slash and gives you some upfront damage as well. Now this is definitely not the only setup that you can run on this, but it's the one I ended up liking the most. And I think it's because out of all the builds that I've tried, this one has the lowest ramp up time and it can demolish level 100 enemies in just a couple of swings. Because if you were to, let's just say, take out the Buskill, which would equalize the physical damage a lot more, so you would actually proc impact and puncture more often, so you would get more from Condition Overload, you would have to hit the enemy multiple times before you're doing full damage. And if you were to then replace it with, I don't know, Blood Rush, which is probably the most obvious choice, so you get crit as well, you would then have to build your combo counter on top of that, and it really didn't feel good with all of that going on. And while the top end damage potential of this status setup is not as high as if you were to run Blood Rush, it just works much better because you hit the enemy once or twice and they die rather than hitting them 4 times and then they die before you were able to do your full damage. And it's not like the damage of this setup is bad, it will take care of everything the game can throw at you because it's a viral slash setup, so you have viral that will cut the enemy health in half, and then you have slash which will bypass shields and armor, and you have heat on top of that which will also do a decent chunk of damage. The innate heat damage of this weapon is actually the best part in my opinion because it adds to Condition Overload, which is great, and it helps the weapon out with the infested, which is usually where these viral slash setups, unless they're on like a ridiculously powerful weapon, feel a little bit lackluster because you sacrifice quite a bit of upfront damage to get the back-end damage with slash. So the extra heat damage that you're doing, which by the way is great versus the infested, and the extra status proc for Condition Overload rounds it out really well. It's kind of similar to what you can do with the Plague Zone, but instead of getting viral, you're getting heat, and it's of course not as strong, because the top end damage potential of a well-built Plague Zone is just too damn high. So overall, I don't think the Kreska is actually too bad for a Mastery Rank 6 machete. I mean, the build requirements aren't too bad. You can just get the Coagulant from Longwinders, which aren't too hard to catch if you have the bait. The Star Amarast, you can get that in a couple of minutes. The Mitocardia Spores are all over Orb Valley, so those shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes either. And getting Fieldron isn't nowhere near as bad as it used to be. So yeah, if you like the look of the Kreska, I would definitely recommend you pick it up. It's of course not going to be as strong as a well-built Zoo or even a Plague Zoo, but it's not too bad for what it is. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say, so I thank you very much for watching. As always guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.
Sons and daughters, pride, the heart of who we are, making peace to build a future, strong, united, working till we fall.